Hello everybody and welcome to a very impromptu Elite FPL video where I just felt like doing a video for you guys. I'm in the usual spot. I say usual spot, it's not directly the usual spot. I'm right about as far away from the, the entrance as I possibly can get. In fact, I'm more closer, so where my house is, so any Predator fans out there, it's beyond those trees. So literally, you see that tree slap bang in the middle just there? So my garden is almost backing onto that, essentially. As I keep banging on about, I've got to do a 20-minute detour around the whole of that round there to get all the way around there just to get to the entrance. But anyway, what's this got to do with FPL? Well, nothing. In fact, none of this is going to be doing with FPL. I'm sure, as ever, there'll be some... Do you know what I always find funny about these idiots that comment about the fact that, why are you uploading this for and everything? And I've always made this point about any content available out there. It's, if you don't like it, fine. If you think it's shit, fine. But why do you continue watching it? What is the reason for you to continue watching it? Like, in fact, ironically, what inspired me to do this quick video is just the simple fact that I was watching some Download Festival 2023 vlogs, which were shit. I mean, they were terrible. I just don't get grabbed by the individual that's vlogging. And again, they're nothing big time. They're just like, 500-600 views, all this nonsense. Still more than this. But I just watch them, just like, I'm not grabbed by you as a person, you as an individual. There's nothing about you. And like, anyway, the point being is that, I just felt like keeping you guys up to date with what's going on with, certainly from my point of view, what's happening with everything. And yeah, it's been a very, very, very strange past 3 weeks. I can't remember when bank holiday was. But whenever the bank holiday, the most latest bank holiday, as I mentioned on the last video I did, there was an accident at the warehouse where a truck crashed through the large shutter door that enters you into the warehouse. And we've had to do overnight work since. And it is the most... for anybody that does do overnight work, I think Gabrielle Derot does overnight work, but it is the most surreal process and trying to adapt, because in my specific case, I'm working 8 till 5 o'clock in the morning, and the job is the easiest job you'll ever do. Is this literally just filling shelving, but it becomes so monotonous and so boring that after a while, like usually for me, once it gets to about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just like, I really have just given up with life right now. It's pretty grim. And yeah, I'm just stacking the shelves and everything, and filling the yogurts and the ready meals and the juices, and I'm just like, fucking hell, man, I've still got 2-3 hours left to go, and my body is just saying, why aren't you sleeping for? But listening into various podcasts, usually I'm actually going through the back catalogues of certain podcasts that have stopped doing new material, and I've just decided, you know what, let's just go from the beginning and work our way through. And it's the Trout Spinners podcast I've just started re-listening to. They're covering all the XFM shows. Not gonna lie, it's quite difficult to listen to, in the sense of, you think I'm bad when it comes to going off topic and everything and various tangents. At least I address some form of fantasy football stuff and there's context to everything. These guys, it's just literally just two guys sat in a pub garden, and they've just hit record on their phone, and they just chat shit about anything that's going on in their life. And it's just like, this is great, but can you not at least relate it with the XFM episode that you're actually supposed to be talking about? And then they just kind of like, it'd be like the equivalent of me just going, talking absolute nonsense like I normally do, and then just saying, oh yeah, Captain Salah this week, see you later. You know, it's really surreal. Like, they'll just say, oh, what's your favourite quote? Oh, it was, and that's it. Sad individuals like me kind of want them to kind of go into some form of deep dive into talking about that specific quote or whatever, but unfortunately not. But I'm just going through it. It's just something to listen to. You got the Out of Office podcast that I'm going through again with all their interviews, because their interviews are actually really, really good, like genuinely really, really good. Interviewing the likes of Ralph Little, Jamie Carragher, and a couple of guys from the actual show itself of The Office. And then, of course, I'm re-listening to the XFM shows, and there are certain other podcasts that I'm listening to, but I realised, because someone tweeted out the other day, like, are you missing FPL? And it was actually, because I only saw this because Dredd actually commented on it. And Dredd just put words to the effect of, no, I'm concentrating on other hobbies, etc. And it's very similar to me. Again, FPL doesn't really overtake my life. The only thing that overtakes my life with FPL is the content, and having to do, you know, a minimum of 10 hours of content a week. And, you know, when it comes to Saturdays, it's really weird not streaming at 3 o'clock. On Sundays, it's weird not streaming. And when it comes to Mondays, it's really weird not... Is all this going to be about weirdness? It's just unusual not to be doing a members video for like an hour or so. And then, of course, throughout the week doing members videos, and then maybe the odd time I come here and do a quick video about God knows what. And yeah, it's just, again, it's just the adaptation phase that's saying, look, you can do this instead now. And because for me, the only thing that I miss from an FPL point of view is actually the content. I really enjoyed, like, the before Planet FPL finished, I was kind of enjoying the content that they were putting out, and, you know, very basic stuff, but it was enjoyable listens, and you kind of makes you realise how much you appreciate the, without wanting to use the word content again, but I'm going to have to, it makes you appreciate what the content does to you from a mental health state. Because when, you know, like I say, the only podcast I really listen into is Planet FPL, really. Not all of them, you know, maybe one a week, because they produce, five a week. I may listen to one, usually the review show. But when now listening once the season's finished and stuff, and just listening into two blokes just chatting shit and just, I don't know, just, there's no pressure of discussing fantasy football assets, or it's just really cool hearing Suj and James having a normal conversation. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute they don't have a normal conversation, but obviously with a show like theirs and with the amount of people that listen in, they've got tens of thousands of listeners, and, you know, they have to stick to a structure. And, you know, yes, they can go off on tangents and everything, but predominantly they stick to a regimented structure, and they chat about what they need to chat about in a very eloquent and informative way. But when you get stuff like ours, which is me just literally just chatting into a camera like this on my mobile phone, there are other people out there which probably do miss this. Comment below if you do, like, genuinely miss the videos from myself and Jason, and it genuinely would be just interesting here, because obviously, like, I don't really go on Discord anyway, and that's when the FPL season's up full and running. But now it's pretty quiet. There's definitely no members chat or anything like that, and certainly no moderator chat since the Premier League's finished. And yeah, I think, like most of us, we're all kind of in that phase where it's just, I'm just glad of the break. I'm just glad to be not having to worry about captain choices or whatever. I mean, what did make me think about regarding the Planet FPL pod, and certainly I think they have encouraged myself and certainly with Jason to do a Sky Fantasy team. And I think that, like we discussed in the final stream, which I look back fondly actually, because I thought Jason was on top form on that final stream, and it's always good when Jason is on top form. And when we were discussing Sky Fantasy, I just said, look, I think it'd be cool if it's just me and you head to head, that's it. Rather than having, and it's no disrespect, but rather than having like an elite FPL mini league, just have a 1-to-1. You never know actually, maybe we will just set up like a 1-to-1 head to head between me and Jason, a 2-man mini league. But I think maybe do an overall elite FPL Sky Fantasy game. Let us know in the comments. Jesus fucking Christ. But certainly I think that the Planet FPL, James and Suj, have inspired me to certainly do the Sky game, just see how it goes. Listening in and like the classic lines of what have we learnt and stuff, and all I just kept going through is like, they're stating the bloody obvious in the sense of stick with template and don't do stupid things. And it's only really like the last few weeks of the season where you want to be pushing the boundaries. And I just think, Steve-O, look at the piece of paper that you wrote at the start of the 2022-23 season, which was literally stick to template at the start of the season. Did I? No. Why would I? Why would I? Make sensible transfers. Did I? Well, yeah, within reason. But sometimes whenever I think back on the way I start FPL, I'm just trying to be too clever, whereas actually, ironically, you want to be too clever at the end of the season. At the start of the season, you want to play it safe. You don't need to go with major punts. But when it comes to the end of the season, definitely go with like the James Maddison captaincy punt, even though ironically I missed out by 2 points on Haaland. Think about that. When I actually go differential over Haaland, and Haaland, what did he get? 2 goals or a hat-trick or something? And I've got Maddison as my Monday night captain, and Maddison pops up with, what was it, a goal and 2 assists, or 2 goals and an assist or something? Gets a yellow card. But I miss out by 1 or 2 points on Haaland. But yeah, I certainly am. I don't know what it is about next season, but I just seem to be looking more forward to that than ever. And I generally don't know why. Is it because I think from a content point of view, I think Jason is wanting to take it to the next level with the channel and try and get to that, that elusive 10,000 sub mark, and maybe get to that point where we are getting regularly 150, 200 people tuning in live and watching on the live streams and getting the call-ins back. I'm certainly looking forward to that, because it beautifully links me into what's been going on in my life. Because like I said, it's been very hectic with the overnights, but it hasn't happened yet officially, but my transfer is finally going through, taking me off shop floor into being a online delivery driver for Tesco's. It's been a complete fuck up from the depot point of view, an absolute complete cock up. It's taken my store manager having to ring up and say essentially, what the hell is going on? Like, this is just an internal transfer, just get on with it. So this should have happened 4 weeks ago. So I'm recording this on the 13th of June. Technically, on the 13th of May, when I applied for the job and went through the whole process, I should have already left. Should already have happened. Because I remember specifically saying to Jason, and I remember specifically saying to some of my co-workers, that before that bank holiday, I was literally saying this is probably going to be my last week here. Well, fast forward 3-4 weeks, and still there. Still there. And I've done thankfully, I've gone through the correct process. Now, to be honest, I think the depot shat themselves and were like, shit, this guy is like pushing through with this transfer. We've made a cock up here. And what a coincidence, all the paperwork was done within seconds. It's now just a case of the CBR checks coming through, which will be fine. And then it's just a simple case of ticking a few boxes and then my transfer's done. But I don't know when that's going to happen. The only knowledge that I've been given is that, or the information I've been given is that it's probably going to take at most 2 weeks. So, a bit frustrating. But on the other side, I've also been given an interview with the NHS. So, yeah, it's all going on. But the thing with the NHS job is that the hours are absolutely perfect for my lifestyle, and more importantly for you guys, it fits perfectly with Elite FPL. I mean perfectly. So I think potentially next season, because obviously I'm not going to lie, I went through a few issues. I mean, obviously there was a video that I did regarding my state of mental health in this graveyard, and just chatting about the simple fact that, look, I'm really not enjoying anything at the moment, and because my fantasy football team is doing really, really badly, and having to produce content, there's that word again, having to do content and talk about it, and how I'm hating my job and doing these early morning starts, having to wake up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, it's genuinely ruining me. So I know I was going through a tough time, and it was, like I said to Jason, it was fascinating. It was probably one of my highlights actually of Elite FPL when Jason did that members video, just dissecting and talking about what I was going through, because he related with it as well. I'd like to think that certain other members related with it and understood the effects that I was having regarding work and sleep deprivation and fantasy football content and all this nonsense. But certainly with this upcoming season, I'm just more thinking that I'm going to be in a more better headspace to be able to create more content and everything, and certainly do more live streams with Jason. That's the one thing that I fucking miss, the live streams with Jason doing the call-ins, because as Jason openly admits himself, the best thing that Jason does is doing the phone calls with you guys on Discord. They're the best moments. Some of the best streams that I think Jason, not just Jason, but just streams or podcasts that I listen to, is the ones that Jason's done with a member of Elite FPL and just chatting. I mean, like I said, that Max Roberts one he did, just some rant. He literally, all he did was just hit live at midnight, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and Jason was just doing some work, and he just felt like just doing a stream because he was in a bit of a dilemma, wasn't he, about some transfers he was thinking of making. He just said if anybody wants to join in, and Max Roberts came on, and then it went from having a really coherent conversation about fantasy football to just talking AI. It was absolutely fantastic, and for anybody that wants to check it out, go back in the back catalogue. But it just was a fantastic listen, and I just can't wait to be hopefully being part of this. And you know, as I keep banging on about, my circumstances are certainly going to be changing over the next, let's just say 2 months. In the next 2 months, my circumstances are going to be changed for, I'd like to think, the better. I'd like to think. I've got my interview tomorrow. So tomorrow is the interview with the NHS, and I'm hoping, I really do hope that I come through okay and that they offer me the job. Basically it's a porter job, it's a driver/porter job. You know, it's pretty within reason, straightforward. Don't get me wrong, I'm taking a hit on the pay, but from my own noggin here and my own mental health and the fact that, look, the shift pattern, well, there's not even shift patterns, the shifts that you're offering me are so ideal for my lifestyle that I think that, you know, making a few sacrifices here or there is going to help me a lot more. And the fact that I live nearby, like the actual, I could probably stand on this bench actually. Let's just stand on this bench here. But the actual, if you've got the crane there, it's just like beyond, again, we'll do the predator line, beyond those trees. So this is just there. It works out to be like a 35-minute walk at most, 35-minute walk. So if I want to actually just walk to work, I can do. It's easy. Even the saving on diesel, you know, it's just a 10-minute drive. The thing is, it's a really simple drive as well to get to. So I'd like to think that a lot of this conditions at the fact that, look, I'm fit, I'm young, I'm healthy, I live nearby, obviously I drive. I'd like to think that will go in my favour. I really would like to think. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail for obvious reasons, but I had a really interesting conversation with the recruitment manager. I mean, she won't be doing the job interview, but I had a really interesting conversation with the recruitment manager who sends out all the emails. And it was very positive. Let's just put it this way. I had a more coherent conversation with her than I've had with anybody to do with Tesco's. Think about that. It was an open, honest conversation about my thoughts and feelings about everything, and she just answered me with everything I needed to hear. Simple, done, thank you. Shout out to Rachel. American. But yeah, I'm certainly, you know, like I say, I'm enjoying the break at the moment. I mean, for anybody that gives a fuck, I am doing some mini podcasts on my podcast feed at Total Stevo on Spotify and wherever else you get your podcasts. Just basically follow me at Total Steve on Twitter. But I've just discovered that I can actually record like on my mobile phone through the app, and it just uploads immediately. So the last few days I've been uploading like 20-minute mini podcasts about my thoughts of my session at the gym as the example, or my thoughts on the gym industry itself, or all this going to be about gym. And I did one yesterday where I was literally live in my car, and I thought, let's just do a podcast where I'm driving into work, and you know, it's 10 minutes. There is a road rage incident which is being uploaded to my YouTube channel at Total Steve. There was one video I uploaded which is just got over 1,000 views, which is mental considering an average view of my dash cam video footage is say 200 average. And this one, which is entitled "This Pedestrian Told Me to Fuck Off." So basically I'm approaching some traffic lights. There's a very small queue of traffic, like 2 or 3 cars, and it's going from red to amber. And as I'm approaching, it's basically at green. And this pedestrian with, I'm assuming it was his son, decides to just basically, oh, I'm going to cross now. And because I kind of shouted out the window, he told me to fuck off. There's an underpass, literally a few metres down, which he could have used and gone underneath the whole road, but nah, we'll just teach our children how to walk in front of 40-mile-an-hour traffic. Fucking idiot. But yeah, I'm just I'm just enjoying uploading the dash cam footage. I wish I'd done it ages ago. Now, and certainly doing these mini podcasts. It's very, I mean, if anybody listens into Chatterbix, which I kind of stopped listening to because I just thought it was just to be honest, it was just a sellout. I found it quite cringeworthy how two celebrities, two famous people were just selling their soul. And it's like, guys, if you don't want to do the podcast, don't do it. Like, you've got plenty of work out there where you're being acknowledged. You know, you work with Ricky Gervais, for fuck's sake, and yet you're panicking about bloody downloads and listenership. Like, get a fucking grip of yourself and all this bullshit of advertising. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, but do you really need the money? Do you really need 100 quid a month? That's all they're getting. And my brother just messaged me a minute ago about this tiny little podcast he listens to. I'm assuming you know, they get like 1,000 listens. But remember, it's 1,000 listens from across the whole world, and depending on how it gets reached out there, you know, it's nothing. And yet they sold their soul out by joining up with an advertising partnership. And my brother was just like, but you've just ruined a perfectly good podcast by just putting in these shitty advertisements for what? 5-10 quid a month? Like me and Jason keep banging about, if an advertising company actually came to us and it was something that we actually used, fine. But we're not going to do Manscaped, Squarespace. Do you remember when Squarespace was this massive thing on podcasts? Creating a fucking website in 4 simple steps. Jesus. Use the code JASTER. Use the code JASTER and get 10% off. Jesus Christ. Get the first 3 months for free. Fucking grim. But certainly, you know, someone reckoned, because I put out a tweet about the bill, and someone commented and said, oh, you should check out this podcast from Peter Crouch. He got Idris Elba on, and they mentioned the bill. All right, I'll do it. First 5 minutes, advertising about beer, I don't care, and then literally within the first few minutes, I'm just looking, I don't relate with this. Yeah, great, it's all professionally done, well done, you're in somewhere in London. Where was it? Somewhere in, like, near Canary Wharf or something like that they record. Yeah, brilliant, well done. It's all professional setup, but you're Peter Crouch, for fuck's sake. You're not Peter Crouch, the Tesco worker. You're Peter Crouch, the multi-millionaire that's married to that Page 3 model. If you want to do a podcast and enjoy the process, brilliant. But to advertise some beer company to get, again, because their listenership is going to be so high, there will be obviously a high percentage of them people that will apply for this discount code. But it's definitely 5 minutes. It's, oh yeah, have you drank this IPA? Oh, fuck off. Yeah. Anyway, I'm waffling now. And as I keep saying on my own little podcast and stuff, if you enjoy this kind of content, let us know. Whether it's on Discord, whether it's on Twitter. Not that I go on the Elite FPL Twitter much. But mainly at Total Stevo. But yeah, like I say, me and Jason are just enjoying the free time we've got, and certainly me and him will be in contact soon, and he'll be sorting out whatever he needs to do on my laptop. As ever, thanks for the support, thanks for watching, and catch you whenever.